Hey guys, this is Anthony Romrell, and let's get started making something a little bit more complicated with Z-spheres. So we're going to load a new file. We're just going to create a new Z-sphere, and let's make a character out of it. Like a Jigglypuff style character. Something Pokemon style. So we're not going to get too serious, but just enough. So basically, it's all set up, ready for me to go. If you watch my last videos, you can see kind of the setup approach. It starts to memorize kind of your settings. It doesn't always, but it's good enough. I'm gonna zoom out 3D, okay, and let's just start out. We'll pull this to the center so it makes just one, and we'll sort of make a simple little body, okay, and then we'll just put two little points. These can be our eyes. And we'll do two little points that we'll add. These could be arms, two more little points. And we're just going to move and make them just kind of stubby. It's not going to be that big a deal, right? And then two little feet. Okay, so back to draw. And let's scale these up. Okay. And let's go to our adaptive skin. So they should just rename adaptive mesh. Be so much better. Okay. So I'm going to hit preview. It's way too much, guys. There's so much stupid resolution. I don't really want any of that. So I'm going to take my density all the way down, my preview all the way down, right? Redo it. That's really more what I want. Maybe one step up in density. Okay, maybe two. And you know what? It's a decent enough starting point. I'm not that serious anyway. It's just sort of goofing off and having fun. So great, it's what I want. I'm going to say make adaptive mesh, adaptive skin, whatever it was, and I'll just load in that adaptive skin. I'm going to turn off my poly groups. Okay, I don't need to see it. And I'm just going to start kind of sculpting, right? So one of my favorite tools is clay buildup. I like to do it with Sculptris Pro turned on. We're going to take down the Z intensity and fix the focal shift and take the brush size down. And I'm just going to kind of sculpt, right? So we'll work on the eyes. And I'm not going to get that serious. Sculptris Pro should be on. I don't know why it was turned off. It is not letting me do it. It says delete or freeze transformations, Sculptris disabled. Okay. So that means in geometry, it isn't like what I've done here. So I've got multiple subdivisions. Okay, so we're going to delete lower subdivisions and enable Sculptris Pro. And there, it's fixed. So if you find that problem again where Sculptris Pro doesn't work, it means you have a few different subdivisions, right? So that's okay. Just a little bit of shoulder. Look, we'll hit S key, smooth out these arms. Again, this is going to be like a Jigglypuff kind of character. And I don't really mean it as Jigglypuff, just something kind of silly and dopey, right? So it's not that serious. So kind of a blobby little thing, right? I'll go to the inflate tool. So B and I. And inflate. We'll just inflate a little bit here. Who knows what this is going to be, right? So I don't have a plan, right? So if you don't have a plan, your stuff's going to look like you don't have a plan. So this looks like I don't have a plan. Hit shift. I want them to be a little bit chunkier, right? So I'll just inflate around here. There we go. That's funnier. It's already funny. I like funny things, right? So just fun and funny. I'm hitting the shift key and going between, right? Hit F to frame. It just goes out of frame so easily. All right, so I think that's kind of an interesting general shape, right? It should look good in silhouette. Whatever you're doing should look good in silhouette. So right now it doesn't look so great in silhouette. So we're just going to smooth it just a little bit. And Okay, now it's kind of like a potato guy, whatever. Maybe that's all I'm good at is potato guys. That's fine. Okay, so back to clay buildup. So let's go to B for brush, C for, and it's going to leave your last brushes you used right there. Some people go on and fix up their UI. I don't care about that. You know what? Just get the default and get going. Who cares about all this extra UI bonus and stuff? Who cares? Okay, so clay buildup. So we'll just kind of deal with eye, just basic eye shapes, and then a little bit of definition over the shoulders, nothing too serious, and just increase the brush size just a little bit. Work with big brushes, I think, is kind of an advantage. Working with big brushes makes things a little easier to get going on. Okay. Let's give him a slightly bigger forehead. I don't think he's going to have a face, right? His body will behave as his face. He's just kind of a little chunky guy here. I hit smooth, so you hold the shift key every once in a while to kind of smooth as you're going along with your tools. Okay, and then if we want to add just a little bit of definition, we'll hit the F key to frame it, keep it centered, then we'll get that damn centered. So hit the B key, hit the D key, and you know what? It's already at the top. Probably there it is because it knows. Let's bring our draw size way down. I keep hitting focal shift. I think that's bad UI. Right. Draw size smaller, and just kind of. Okay, that's too intense. So take that intensity down. Right. Maybe add a little definition under the arms here. Right. Hit F. Maybe a little foot definition around the belly. Hit F. I find myself hitting F and constantly reframing it. So, it's kind of good to have one hand on the keyboard, right, while you're brushing. And also, it's impossible to do this kind of sculpture with a mouse. So, some kind of Wacom tablet or, Julian or some kind of tablet's going to be your most helpful. Right. And again, I don't care that much. I keep wanting to pinch in and out with like it's an iPad. So no nose, just eyes and a belly and I don't know, maybe some fingers. So I don't know. See, it gets too. It's just a sketch, right? So let's get that. Let's get the pinch tool now. Since it's just a sketch, you guys. Like, don't take it too seriously. Just have fun. Sketch it out. Shift key here. Make our brush size bigger. Oh, see that? The problem with Sculptors Pro, like if you're going to hit Shift, turn Sculptors Pro off to smooth it out, right? Because it likes to go super low res on that. And enable it back again. I think it's got enough resolution we could just turn Sculptors Pro off. So let's go to the pinch tool. So flatten a few things, right? And I'll tell you why. So let's pinch and decrease our brush size and tighten a few things up, right? So tighten it a little here, tighten it a little here. And that's because if everything's soft and round, nothing is. So just a little pinches. And then let's just flatten a few things. Like, okay, so we've lost the definition of the ice. We gotta go back and clay build back up, right? So hit the F key. This has got to be heavier, right? That's a little bigger. Maybe that's too big, but it's kind of funnier now. Intensity bigger. That wasn't expected, but I like it. We'll go back to that damn standard tool. So right up here, kind of cut that in. Maybe I need Sculptors Pro back on. I think I do, just to rearrange some geometry. Right, but you see, hard edges against soft edges make it really kind of more interesting to look at. And then flatten it. Like I haven't flattened it. So I said I would, but I didn't. So planar works, right? Planar doesn't flatten things; it planes them. But so BF, where's flatten? Right there, flatten. Maybe it's too flat, but whatever. Just having some fun. Turn off Sculptris Pro, hit Shift, soften that a little bit. See, flattened areas make the more shapely areas seem more shapely, right? So because we're flat now at the end, he's more spongy because he's got flat areas. Okay, let's go all the way to the bottom. Let's make some nice big flat feet. So I'm hitting smooth and flat, smooth, flat, right? And it's gonna be a little funny. I'm holding the shift key. That's to try to. Oh dear, I've got to go to rotate X, Y, Z, and then back to rotate Y. Okay, hit that F key. See, it's not. See how weird that gets? We'll turn perspective off. Right. So we got to get the move tool. So BMV, kind of like we flattened it, but it's not exactly flat. Like there's no real scientific method to using ZBrush, right? It's just kind of is that. So here's our, maybe it's not Jigglypuff, maybe our Pokemon style fatty guy right here. It's sort of funny. Now, when you think you're to a certain point, you want to get it to Maya, it's too dense, right? So to find out the density, we can just hover over the mesh, and it'll tell us, that's well over 200,000 polys. So we're going to use ZRemesher, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half. We're going to hit Adapt, Cut in Half, ZRemesher. And, if you want, you can enable your fill. You can see it's taking a little bit of time, and that's because we've got some history we're dealing with. But that's good. That's a good start. So let's turn on our line. But see, that's still too dense. And if we hover over that, we're at 80,000. So let's get this down to about 10,000. So let's go half again. ZRemesher, and you can see what's kind of cool about ZRemesher is it's gonna try to follow what we've been working on. Right? Let's do it again. I mean, we're going to get it to almost a game ready. That's how I like to work. And that's pretty good. I mean, it's way low on intensity. So we're at 10,000 polys. I think that's a good place to put it in Maya. But let's just go one more just to see it. ZRemesher. Right. That's actually, I like that resolution because we can work with that, right? We can put this into a game really easily. Then we can come back and add details and all that sort of thing and ZRemesh it, maybe a little bit of retopo, but that's a pretty good mesh. So let's get this to Maya. We'll come up here. We'll just go to Export, OBJ this. So let's call it Poke, because whatever, Poke, whatever. Save it. Then we can head on over to Maya and import this. So there's our Poke. We could use GoZ, right? But I haven't set it up because I'm lazy. So there's our little Poke guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold the D key and the V key, push it down to the bottom, then hold the X key to snap it to the grid, hit R, scale it up. And, there's our little character with our little mushroom. And, we're just having some fun here with our sculptures.